Alrighty. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And it is TGIF. We were needing that yesterday after that battle with getting up on the network. What can we say about all of it? What action, huh? We had the Dow Jones Industrial Average yesterday rocking up a couple hundred points. We had the NASDAQ down a couple hundred points. It's almost like as if the volatility overall has changed. And so you have these different sectors, they're moving in and out of them. And so, the techs are doing their thing, and then the old mainstreams that are more established are doing their things, and money is sitting in them, and the more interest sensitive nouveau companies like the Microsoft and Google and so forth, Alphabet and when Apple has tons of dough, that's probably why it's not all over the place, but it has been on a downwardly spiral. I think that more than anything else is it's a combination of taking profits. Also, there's a $319 billion readjustment that has to be done in stocks, moved out of portfolios over the next 3 days, before the end of the month for this quarter. So that's another major, major thing going on. They must know that there might be selling to it, or there's something of that nature, and they've been pushing them out, trying to take the profits. That's usually a true characteristic of stuff like that. Front running what has to be done. So now it's you say to yourself, why don't they just do it? Why do they have to wait to the end of the month? Well, because they're trying to balance with the indexes. And so funds who try not to think and just do, in other words, what they do is they're buying a basket of stocks, and then they go and sell the index. Sell the futures against it, and try to benefit from the dividends. They buy the stocks, collect the dividends, and they have to rotate over $319 billion worth of stock to adjust to the new balance of the portfolios of the indexes themselves. In other words, the indexes are the capitalizations have changed, and some stocks are not in there anymore, and they need to readjust, and that goes on, and that's what we're seeing possibly also at the same time. I know I'm seeing incredible headlines about things like this could be Armageddon, and this is the top of the market. It's I don't know about when you have quantitative easing going on across the planet now since 2008. So that's 13 years. Notice that the sell-offs don't last very long. Weeks. A month. And they're off to the races again on the upside. And so I'm not totally convinced that we're seeing a major change in the stock market's opinion, solely because there's just not many places investors can go to get a return on their money. So with quantitative easing across the planet, it basically there's not much more to be said, but people have to have stock positions. I mean, really, that's where it really comes down to. They need something that pays interest. Was it? I heard somebody recommending a stock that is doing really well. Good earnings, and it's yielding 4%. And it used to yield 2%, but it came down in price, so now it's yielding 4%. Well, it makes it awful hard for a money manager not to buy something like that. So that is where we're at. All right, let's take a look at the dollar. We didn't even do that. Right up there it is. The Swiss, just inching its way up. Tried to go into the buy. We had a red and green, but now it's definitely through it. You can see yesterday the histogram and the white line. No, wait a minute. Nope, no, I'm wrong. That was minus and minus. So it was just minus. So today it's trying to get in there now. So we're seeing the Swiss try to get up. Where'd we mark? I thought it was plus. Okay. Interesting. All right. So what we're going to have to do is we will have to change that on there and go like that. And then tonight, if it closes here, then it'll be in a buy. Okay. So that's where you can see the strength in the dollar. I know, it makes, a little sense. Buy dollars because they pay dividends. In other words, you can buy things in dollars and you can get a return. People kind of forget that the objective of a money manager is to make money. I mean, obviously money for himself and money for his clients, but they need to be invested in things. They can't be like Europe, like where you have 18 plus trillion. And that's not billion or million, 18 trillion sitting around doing nothing. And when I say it's doing nothing, it's not really going back into the marketplace. It's just propping up the businesses there, the companies, their bonds. Hey, Robin, how you doing? And that's really where we're at the moment. And so that's why we see buying in the dollar, because in the United States you can get a lot more return on your equity. Not counting, they've brought the 10-year down from 175 yesterday. It's trading at like 168, 168 and a half, right around there. As I take a sip of the water there. And they're doing the same thing to the 30-year. It's come down from the 251 or something like that to 248, 247. So, there's a return. There's a good carry trade. So, that's where we are. All right. Excellent. And let's jump over to... Glad all is well with you there in Chi-Town. Now let's jump over to the euro. You see the euro yesterday fell into a sell. That is in a sell on the fact check spreadsheet too. Yep. And we're still going down. You can still, we're in a weekly sell, and it's not looking like it's going to turn unless they give it a incredibly give a really powerful move this afternoon. And I kind of doubt that. And then there's the cable right there. You can see the cable. Let's widen that out a little bit. That's where it went into the weekly buy back there. You must have been talking about that or something. And you can see here, as much as it's trying to go down, it's not going down that much. And we did see this flirt for a little bit on Wednesday. We talked about that Tuesday and Wednesday. It was playing with the weekly sell. And we had a little circle going on there. And once it got back through the plus, we just got rid of the circle. And, I mentioned on Wednesday that basically this is a 44 moment. Basically... more than likely, because every time we're in a daily buy in this product, all we think is this thing's going to go up. I mean, it just is what it is there. Well, TGIF, Timothy, I agree. I was saying that yesterday to Nicole at Dukascopy. I said to her, it's like hours away now, TGIF. Hours away. Looking forward to I think I got some interesting things going on over the weekend. I don't know. I always have something going on. I think I do, and I don't realize it. But yeah, it's where was I at? Oh yeah, I'm really glad it's Friday. That's for sure. It's been a profitable week. I can't complain, and it's been good trading markets. Really has. I've been trying to get into a position, but when you've got the Dow going up and then you got the Nasdaq going down, it kind of makes it a little hard to. And like yesterday, they sell it down. Imagine if I'd gone in and, because they're in daily sells, I go in and, play the short side when they're in weekly buys. I got to wait for them all to line up. So that's where we're waiting for right now. All right. And there is the cable. Now let's jump over to Turkish lira right there. Slid into that sell yesterday. You can see it on the chat line there. That's line 17. It's 2 days in the sell. And looks like we're going to be climbing back into that weekly sell. That's what it looks like right there. Good for them. I'm always happy to see the Turkish lira, do well, because the population there had their currency go from 1.5 to 8.5 over a 6-year period. And that's really vicious, Emmanuel, how you doing? Sorry, what are the indicators on your chart, please? Oh, sure. Okay. All right. So. Well, let's look at the Turkish lira. Turkish lira is a good example. This is our Gasline proprietary quantitative indicator. It's measuring the daily. And usually we have something up there. Let's write that up there. We call that day quant. And then quant? No, I got to put a Y in there. Day quant, all right? And that's a good question. I'm always glad someone asks that once in a while. And then on the bottom one, it's a weekly chart on the same product. Let's see. Quant. There we are. Oop. Excuse me. All right. There we go. So, a little sneeze there. So what you have is you have the day quant and the week chart and the Turkish lira. This is the day. This is the week. When we're in a weekly buy, let's go find the weekly sell or a weekly sell. When we go into the weekly sell, you can take the sells. See how you get these day signals? And it goes into a sell here, and it stays in a sell for a while. And it's in a weekly sell here, so you can be short and ride it for an hour, 10 minutes, 2 weeks, whatever. It's up to you. You know, I don't have much power over how you invest solely because I have no idea what your abilities are, how much capital you're using, how strong a mind you have, you know, the whole bit, you know. So I can't go and say, you know, go do this, that, and the other thing. I can only let you follow a very solid 8.5 out of 10 over the last 40 years. And going back on the Dow Jones Industrial Average over the last 90 years, accuracy with that statistic, 8.5 out of 10. And so when it's in a sell, it's in a sell, but it's in a weekly buy here, but the lines have come underneath. You can see that. So we confirm it at the end of the week. You can be short in here and then choose when you're going to take your profit. Now it goes into a buy here. You can't get long because we're in a weekly sell. Okay? And you can see that goes on for a while in this one in particular. And then it goes into another sell here. So you can be short again because we're in a weekly sell. And if you're a real long-term investor, well, then you can just keep on riding it until it, you know, turns or you've made enough money. It's all up to you, not me. And so then it goes into a buy here. And then also it goes into a weekly buy here at the end of that week. And it gives a nice little pop and then sells off about a day and a half into it. And then it goes into a buy here. And you can buy it again, but you can't take the short here at all because, again, we're in a weekly buy. And then it goes into a sell here. And again, same thing. You don't take the short. I mean, you can, but I'm not recommending it. Because, I mean, if you're trading options, then it's a very low-risk trade. You know, you could take a short and try to get out of it. But if you're not, and you're trading the hard delta, you may get stopped out. You know, because it's the overall trend is on the upside now. Then goes back into the buy here. You can see here it didn't do very well. It's finally had a loss. Right there. And now it's in the sell. And now we're flirting with a sell. And maybe the Turkish lira will head back down. Now, this is our gas line 7 proprietary indicator. And this is our gas line 3. Same mathematics, just a different combination of them. The blue lines, these blue lines right here, we call them a nonlinear time manifold. And so it kind of gives us a flavor of price and time. There's the positive side, there's the negative side. On this indicator, when it's just a gas line 3 versus like a gas 3.5 or a super, the histogram and the white line are going to be on the same side. They're going to be both plus or they're going to both be minus. Okay. Now at the same time also, see how the white line comes through the time manifold. And notice it keeps on rising, telling me that there's a lot of strength until I see this peak here, and it starts to turn, and then, you know, it does another peak there, and then it breaks hard here. I mean, that's one big ugly drop, and then a lot of times it'll stay down for a day or two with that, but it didn't do it. It just went into a sell, and you know, it didn't start it here and give you that little pop up because of that move there, and so that's how we read these. You get so far up, you know you're getting overbought. You get so far down, you know you're oversold. That's basically the simplicity of it. You're high up, and now you start to move down. You know you're overbought. You can see it goes sideways, and then finally tries another run, fails, and then breaks the time manifold, and there's pressure on the downside. You'll notice when it fights its way through the time manifold from the negative side, you can see it's trying to lift. You can see the prices have, but the red dots have not, and vice versa. I mean, we can go back and look, and you'll see. Overbought. A couple of days later, it starts to back off. overbought. In this case, it was 4 days before it backed off, and it only backed off 1 day. And because it's all plus, the strength is there. All right, now let's look at the weekly. The weeklies works the same way, except for it's a weekly. That's it. And this is a 7. And so you see this starting to get through here. You know that there's some strength starting to go. It gets through this. Let's put that line in there. It gets through the 0 line. And that's the divider right there, the 0 line, about being plus and minus. When it's plus, it's a long. When it's minus, just like here. When they're plus, it's a long. When they're minus, it's a sell or a short. Same thing. And also it could be a cover too. Well, buying one, either way, it's a buy of some form. All right, Emmanuel, what do you think of that? Does that make a little sense to you? And you're welcome to ask any questions about that. And in a case like here, you see the weekly sell. I think that's where we started off, didn't we? Yeah, that's where we started off. You can see further back, we went this actually went like 54 or 55 weeks in a weekly buy. And all we're doing is taking buys from like 5 something. Yeah, 580 all the way up to 850. All we did is take the buys. And that is how it works. Now, over on J4X, we have a little combination that helps to emulate what we do here. Let's put the Turkish lira in there. Obviously, if you're not, you missed the webinar and you don't get a chance to talk to me, or during the trading day, if you're not a subscriber to Chicago Quant, you need to have some tool that at least gives you a general idea of what the trend is like. So you can see here, we'll make this bigger for you too. Over on J4X, what we're doing is we're looking at Hinky ASCII bars, which are about almost a day behind, or at least half a day behind. But they do emulate, let me shrink that down, they do emulate our dots on almost a 70 percentile characteristic, which is kind of cool, color-wise. Now, we're looking at the white line, which is a fast-moving stochastic 5-3 SMA. And we're watching this golden dotted line, a slow stochastic 5-3 SMA and 3 SMA low. Okay? When the white line breaks here, we expect to see weakness. Just like when we saw the white line get through here, we saw strength. We saw a breakthrough here, failed, and then went back through it again. In this case here, you saw where it broke down, and it broke down. Now we're using the purple. What's this purple? The purple is the CCI. We're using the CCI just to see how much strength is in the product. And so this gives you, like I said, you tune in to Dukascopy, you're watching Doc's webinar, you're seeing my charts, and this tool we developed for the J4X program. And then at least it gives you a fighting chance during the trading day until the next day, when you can't get a chance to talk to me or see what's on our charts. And like I said, or you're subscribed, one or the other. It doesn't really matter to me. It's nice that we have this outlet of Dukascopy and be able to make the Dukascopy platform used as a robot and a trading tool at the same time. And we've won some contests with Dukascopy over the years. I don't really do it anymore. I'm just too busy anymore. Let's see. Emmanuel says, thank you. Do you see the indicators on smaller time frames, like 4 hour for intraday trades? I don't really look at that. I'm a spatial type person, do a lot of topological mathematics. So I kind of look at things through shapes. So in other words, ticks or contracts. I rarely ever look through a fixed Newtonian type time frame. Minutes, hours, things like that. I can say this, if you do like time, 3 minutes is a goodie. And I have seen the 4 hour and the 2 hour do some positive things. But, it's, if you're not using my math, I would say, you got to go spatial. Forget the hourly things. At least you have a better fighting chance if you go into trading say 369 on like the euro or something like that, and British pound same thing 333 maybe, and a contract or a tick. It's for an intraday trading. I think that's a good way of describing it more than anything else. But I'm not into fixed time. One of my strengths is that I have a way of measuring a different form of time. We've been doing that for 44 years now. So ever since I invented it, and so I'm not like I said, I'm not really big on the fixed times, like 2 hour, 4 hour. I mean, I do 1 days, and for overall trends. But even when I try to accentuate that by making it a topological type, it's always better. But it would tie up the machines because it can be complicated. But I recommend playing around with contract or tick size. Long term, make them gigantus, and short term, make them. In other words, find a short term one, an intraday one that matches up really well with the product you're following, and then multiply that by about I don't know, say 18 or something like that, and whatever number. If it was like 369, multiply it by 18, and make that like your day. See if you can come up with a coordinated effort there. But into spatial. I hope that makes sense to you. All right. Where are we at here? I can you can ask more questions, Emmanuel. If you don't understand something, or I didn't make it, if I didn't make it clear enough, that type of thing. There's no problem repeating questions when dealing with money and trading, as far as I'm concerned. The only difference is that there's a short answer or a long answer to it, but there's never any dumb questions when you're dealing with money and trading. All right. Let's see now. Where should we go from here? We go. Oh, I know. Then we go to Canadian. So we go to Canadian. This is how we kind of walk our way into the energy sector. And as you can see here, Canadian is trying to lift up today. Or I guess it was. Did it make it into the binary yesterday? I think it did. Let me see. On the fact check spreadsheet. Yeah, it did. See it right here on our fact check spreadsheet? Right there. Canadian, 5 weeks in a sell, 1 day in a buy. And so it's going on its second day. So there should be some strength in oil. No, wait a minute. This indicates weakness in oil. That's what that does. Weakness in oil. Now let's look at NASCAD. We look at these two particular pairs trades to see how they correlate with oil. The Loonie trade, which is NASCAD, and then the Canadian dollar pairs trade. Where are you? There you are. And this is flattened out, saying that there might be a little strength coming into oil because it's been just sitting there. Now, yes, this picked up the weakness that came into oil days ago and sold down. And now let's go take a look at crude oil contract. There's a Robo Gas. I thought that was interesting. That went into the sell there and it caught the whole move, whereas the crude oil did not. Let's see, where's that? Right there. Yeah, it went into a sell here, showed some weakness there, and now it's kind of vacillating back and forth from the plus to minus. You can see it ran up at one point. Markets are trying to figure themselves out. I saw one headline, 7% drop in oil yesterday, and what does this mean? Just to me, it means more sellers than buyers. Not much more than that. I don't, I know OPEC came out with some stuff about electric cars in 25 years, all this other stuff. But you know what? When I'm doing things with electric, and then I'm trying to do it with gas, the brute force of gas is so much more powerful. So it's not. I'm not a real big fan of. What's this? Emmanuel says, "Thank you, Doc. I am looking for a directional bias indicator for lower time frames. Can you suggest something from the platform?" Yeah, do the one we just suggested over here. Right here. Try this. Let's do this. What product are you interested in doing it in? And we'll play around with it a little bit. How's that? You want to give me an idea? I mean, like a euro or cable or oil or gold, or tell me what you want to do on a short-term time frame, and I'll show you how I analyze how to do it. Okay? How to analyze how to trade these things. How to build an indicator. Matter of fact, I gold. Okay, I subscribed to something. Someone had said they would make 100 robots. Oh, what a bunch of hogwash that was. But I listened to the first day. It was brutal. I couldn't do it anymore. It was supposed to be for 4 days. It was like 7 in the evening to 8 in the evening, and I watched the first day. Oh my God, it was more of an info commercial. I mean, honestly, oh, it was so sad. So I'll give more information in this next 5 or 10 minutes than that guy did for an hour and a half and probably the whole week. All right, now let's go look at gold. Start off with, there's gold. Now, you want to trade this in intraday, right? Let me just read your thing up top again. Thank you, Doc. I'm looking for a directional bias indicator for lower time frames. All right, so what you do is, there's a daily. Now, let's go and look at, say, I think this will do ticks, too. Let's see if we can adjust that tick. There's a 3 tick. Let's see how that looks. And then we'll see if we can adjust that tick. And then, here, I'm going to show you mine. I'm going to give you a flavor how mine works. I have some stock indices that I trade. And so, here is, as it's loading, let's just take a look at mine from Chicago Quant. All right, now, here's the NASDAQ 100. This is a 693 contract bar. Each bar is 693. And then there's a much shorter term. I treat it like a daily and weekly, back and forth. If they're both in pluses, like right here, I start thinking you can get long. Now you can see here, let's see if we can make that a little bit bigger and a little bit wider. You can see it went into the buy here. Now this needs to close to confirm there's some strength going on. And let's widen out this one. Oh, there we go. Okay, here we go. Let's look at what jumped on J4X. There we are. See, once that white line goes through the dotted line, it's a bullish move. Now, it challenged it there for a second. Now it's broken down. Now we need to move away from 3 ticks. We need to move to something like 300 ticks or something like that. And let's see how we do this. Let's see, ticks. No. Ticks. Why won't it calculating? Ticks, okay. Session length. 1 week is fine. Now we need to figure out how to change the ticks from 3 to say 300. And that's what we want to do here. If anybody knows how to do that, just shout it out. Instrument, period. Let's see what that does. We'll find it here. 3 minutes. We want to go to tick. How do we add more tick to this? Let's try that again. Maybe support data settings, maybe? Let's see what that does. not it. You can see, let's see, we'll keep on going there. Let's see, let's try that one more time. No, I don't want to do that either. How do we change that? Okay, so if I go tick again, how do we fix this? Add more. All right, add more. I'm not sure why they have them shaded out on us. Custom calculation. There's tick. No. I'm not sure what's happening there. We may be opening up something untitled to see. Well, that's what we need to do. On your machine, maybe you can put a 300 tick in or something like that, you know? And that's what you need to do. You can see here, it's just way too fast to be able to trade it. You know, it's just, you know, it's total robot at this point. You need to run a robot on it. I mean, once it goes long there, I mean, if we make it bigger, you can see a little bit, but and once the white line crosses, it's a long. When it breaks down, you can see it breaks down too. Now, this is only 3 ticks, which is incredibly crazy to even try to trade. Okay? And that's what you want to do. You want to do it that way. And I can show you over on mine, since I have control over mine, right here. Let's make one of these bigger, like that. There we go. So when it goes minus, you know, it goes down. Let's see, where is it at? Right there, I guess. Right there, it goes down. Tries to lift up. We get some positive action here. We go minus here. It breaks down. It never goes plus again until here. Now it's gone plus. It's going up in value. Now, if you use the combination there, you'll do fine. You know what I mean? You know what I mean by that? The combination of this here. I'll show you. Let's just open them up real quick. That's insane, the speed of that. Let's just go back to day. There we go. Matter of fact, let's do this. Let's do a little experiment. There's 10 seconds. Let's see what 10 seconds looks like. But I'm a tick fan myself. So you can see here it goes through. It gives you a head fake and goes through it again, and it's plus. Breaks down here, you can see the weakness. You can see here there's the plus, and you can see the strength in it again. And then, I mean, we could go to 1 minute, see what it looks like with 1 minute. But that's the gist, and like I said, I'm really big on spatial. Like now you can see here on mine, it went through the buy here. It's still in the buy, hasn't broken the 0 line, and now it's going up to here. At one time when I did the Dukascopy webinars, I used to aim my camera on a specific product, and so during the trading webinar, you would see something live. You could actually use my math and watch and trade something live at the same time. All right, here you can see here it went into the buy here, and it did pop, and it's still probably going to fight its way up unless this breaks down. There. See how it's trying to break down. But the white line has to close below the dotted line. Looks like it's trying to do it, that's for sure. And this is what, a 1 minute. So I hope that all makes sense to you. Getting close. I want to see what it does. Kind of interesting. On 1 minute chart. Ooh, almost. Close now. Looks like 1 minute from now, if it closes below it, then it'll probably try to break down. It'll be interesting. I want to see if this is going to climb because it hasn't been able to break down. And when I mean by break down, confirm by closing. You got to let these things close. You know what I mean? On the J4X, here. This way you can look at. This is the white line is the stochastic fast 5.3. See that there? And then the golden dots is a slow stochastic 5.3 SMA 3 SMA low. Okay. Then I use the what do you call this thing? The CCI for strength. And you can see here it didn't close underneath and it's still climbing. And so there, now, I mean, are you interested in like a 5-minute or 10-minute? We can go further into this and look. That's why we have J4X up there with our charts. This way, we can actually create something with a public indicator. It actually, when you're running two stochastics against each other, a fast and a slow, it generates a relative effect. So it whereas most people look at a stochastic, they look at the bottom or the high or the low, the trough. In our case, we're always looking at relative. We're always looking at things to compete with each other. I mean, outperform, underperform. Okay? And that's how we do it. And you go and back test. And then every day you back test a little bit to double check that it's working. And you just keep on doing that. You just keep on back testing all the time. Just like any athlete, they practice. They don't just go and do it. They practice. Baseball players swing the bat every day way more times than they play baseball. Football players, same thing. Basketball players, the same thing. Golfers, the same thing. Rugby players, the same thing. They run. Well, rugby players may just drink, but that's besides the point. Cricket, hit the bat and have tea. Soccer players or English football, they train all the time. They only have one match or a couple matches a week, but they train all the time. And when you're trading, you got to do the same thing. You're constantly practicing, double checking, seeing if there's a better time frame that's better than the one you're using now. They stay pretty consistent, I can tell you that. The product pricing on the top, like candles, what is that called on the system? It's called the Hinky Ashy. It's a delayed product. I'm not totally happy with it because it is a combination. See it right there, the title? Right there. But it does emulate my dots, and because it does, we keep it on there. It's an average of the high and the low and the close and the open. They do an average and then divide it. There we go. Let's see. And product pricing on the top, like candles. What is that? Okay, I answered that. Okay, good. Hinky Asky, right there, the name. All right, we gave you some bullets there. Like I said in trading, there is no stupid questions. There's only long answers or short answers. That's all there is. When you're dealing with money and trading, there's never any stupid questions. As you can see here, ours just went into the sell finally here. And it finally broke down more. Now this was a good little break in it. And you can see the white line broke the time manifold. On the shorter term stuff, you can watch that much more. Where it starts to break through here, I know strength is starting to come. In this case here, the moment it starts to break down from the top, it's overbought, and it does on very short term. It works better than on the daily and weeklies because it's fast and instant gratification. Amazing, Doc. Thank you. I will watch this webinar again tomorrow. Well, that's good, Emmanuel. I'm glad. Thank you. And so that's where we are. Oh, look at that. It broke down here. And you can see it breaking down on the price. There we go. And you can see, if you go up on Dukascopy, you can see DocDow and the contests that I was involved in years ago, and my robot system and so forth. I was using the stochastics with the candlesticks. You know, change color. You know, we tried to get Hinky Ashley at the time into it, wouldn't do it. But we wanted, you know, if it changed color from red, and it had to be at a height of the stochastic itself. And I tried to commingle a second stochastic to it, but I didn't really get that far with it. But it worked out pretty well, using the stochastics and so forth with the candlestick colors. All right, where do we go from here? Let's see. Oh, I know is we can take a look at the energies now, because we were looking at the currency pair. So we were looking at NASCAD and Canadian, and that's usually an indicative of, you know, it was heading down, and this was breaking down at the same time. And this is the crude oil. I think this is crude oil. Is this crude oil? Yes, it's crude oil. And so that's where we're at with this product right now, is that we had the NASCAD pairs trade, currency pairs trade. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Be disciplined. Don't fight the system. That's why you train. You practice over and over again every day before you start trading. You know, just to get tuned up, get warmed up, get some of that muscle memory going. You know. Yeah, that's the name of the game. All right, where do we go? Oh, I know. We're looking at crude oil. So crude oil is going sideways at the moment, which makes sense. It was up and backed off because we see Canadian rising, and we see NASCAD flat and down. So, you know, that's usually a sign of weakness in the crude oil. Then we take a look at, from there we go to nat gas. Now they tried to lift that up yesterday. That is amazing. This time of year, they're still trying to buy that stuff. Let's see what we got here. Oh, okay. Let me just delete something that just popped up. Cool. All right, and then we take a look at Robo Gas, which I think I started off with at the beginning of it, of saying, you know, Robo, this is the fuel that feeds automobiles. You know, it picked up the selling even a day ahead of that, but they're all in weekly buys, so it was very tough. You couldn't be short, you just weren't supposed to be long, that's all. That's the way we roll around here. Sometimes there's three positions: long, short, and neutral. You know, sometimes you're just in neutral and just is what it is. And you know, as much as you would like it to not be that way, it is that way. And so, you know, you just kind of grin and bear it, really. All right. Now, what do we do from here? That's the three energies. And then we usually go back and we take a look at ruble. And let's see, where's that? Let's go back to here. Yeah, there it is. Let's take a look at ruble. Yeah, see how this is the NASCAD, just another repeat of that. At the beginning of the week, they were breaking it down. At the end of last week and the beginning of this week, they were selling it down. And it was just kind of bouncing around. And yesterday, they started to lift it up after all that selling in crude oil. So the pressure had been on the downside. Crude had to roll over in the end. That's why we follow those two pair trades for that reason alone. Now let's go to ruble right there. You see it went into the buy a couple days ago. Now it's flirting with the weekly buy. So there's a little strength kicking out in there. And then over in yen, yen is cleanly in a weekly buy still. It's been in a buy from back here on a weekly basis. And went into a sell here and it went back into the buy, and then it's back into the sell. But they're not really going anywhere. Let's see, what else do we look at in this sector? From there, we've been paying attention to some of the smaller pairs trades. There's the Mexican peso. That's been really solid. You know, just kind of, I mean, keeping in a nice tight range in here, which is not bad. It's in a weekly buy since here. Somewhere's back in here. It's been a weekly buy here. And, you know, it went into a sell there. Went back into a buy here. It flipped back and forth one day, off and on. Or 2 days, over 2 days. Then back into the buy for this little pop. We're in a weekly buy, so you can take the longs. And then there's your last long you could take. And now it's been in the short since here. Let's put that red line in there. So you can't play the short side because we're in a weekly buy, traders, right? But you can see it's been finding a way to go down. Down, 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 down. All right. And then, what else we're looking at here? Let's see what the South African Rand is doing. Rand's in a weekly buy since here. So let's put that in. And went into a daily buy. I guess it was in a buy. Went into a daily sell, I guess, right there. And then went right back into the buy again, since we're in a weekly buy. Right there. It was a winner chicken dinner thing. Like so. And you had a nice little pop out of it. Then it gave you a warning sign that, you know, it's being sold. And it goes into sell and moves down. So that is that. All right. Now where do I go? Let's see. That is the South African Rand. Oh, you know what we started following? Someone was following the Israeli shekel. It's a really good trading tool. Let's see if we still have it up on here. We start to fish around after a while. No, I think... Oh, there it is. Dollar shekel. What a consistent... Look at the length sometimes it stays in. I think that's really good. In this case here, it went into the buy and didn't, you know, and it ran up, and we were in a weekly buy. So it was another winner chicken dinner since the last time we looked at it. Then it went into the sell there. But it's still in a weekly buy, so you don't get short or anything. You just don't. You're not long now, right now, or you're neutral. You've adjusted your position. You may have some long delta on, but you have it hedged. Okay, Robin. And then you can see we're flirting with getting into a buy. It's easily holding up. This is a 3-5, so the histogram is the plot 1, and let's see, what is that? And then okay, and the white line is plot 4. And then I'm confused. I thought, where's the 5? Let's see if we can find that again. Oh, I see. Okay. Let's just make that odd color. That's invisible. So plot 4 is the white line. And plot 6 is the 5. Okay. That's it. That's better. There we go. So I forgot that as fast as I said it. All right. The black. Okay. 6 is the black. Or 5 is the black. So this is a 5. So it's a gas line 5 on the black, on the histogram. It's a gas line 3 on the white line. When both of them are on the plus side, be long. When they're both on the sell side, be short, and then, it flips right back again. See, everything is relative. That Al Einstein thing, and Galileo, and a few of them have had relativity things going on there. There's a few other people in the 18th, 19th century that talked relativity. Albert Einstein wasn't exactly the first to talk relativity. He just happened to, put it together to a point where everybody went like, "Ooh, this is really, really cool. It's a really, really big shoe." And so that's why Al Einstein got a lot of credit, because people weren't expecting some of the things he had come up with. But there was a few other people. Who was it? It was I forget the name of the physicist, but they had written something. They were big on electromagnetic fields and Mandelbrot or something like that. Maybe not Mandelbrot, but it was something like that. All right, where do we go from here? Let's jump over to. That's pretty much all the currencies. What we can do now is go take a look at the stock indices. We'll close that. And here is the stock indices. So we'll look at the first one, which is the NASDAQ 100. You can see it went into the sell yesterday. It's kind of vacillating, a little firmer than it was yesterday, of course. And we'll see. And it's in a weekly sell, so you couldn't take the longs out of any of this. So you could take the short. Where was it? The short was there, I guess. Yeah, I guess that was the short. And it didn't win overnight, that's for sure. And then if you rode it, it was a success. Now, you got a little, where was it? There was the buy. You can't take that buy because we're in a sell. So it's only been just the two. Now here's S&P 500. It's in a weekly buy. Now obviously it's fighting its way into the sell, which means I might be short by the end of the day too. You got this trying to get into the buy, lasts for a day, and then it does it again and generates some nice profits out of it. It has gone in the sell yesterday, but what didn't lead. So, in other words, you saw it during the trading day itself. Now let's take a look at the S&P 500. There's the S&P 500, and there's your buy. Then you had a sell, and back into a buy again, and it rode all the way up. So, and now it's it's in its sell, and the weekly is down through the negative time manifold. Pretty damn bearish, So maybe they're going to take some profits. We'll see. Now here's the Russell 2000. It was in a buy up until there, went into the sell, was in the sell on the daily, and they pounded it. So there's a winner chicken dinner with no problem. And then let's see what else is there. Then you get into the weekly buy, and you catch that for a couple days there because of it lasted all the way up until here. And then we went into a daily sell there. And now we're in fighting to be in a weekly sell at the close of the day. So tune in, traders, and see. Maybe we'll post something so you can take a look at that. Oh, I'm glad you're back. So that's where we are on the Russell. Now let's look at the last of the four majors, and that is the New York Stock Exchange one. The one that does all that stuff like the cryptos and so forth. But this is Bitcoin. But this is the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which is basically following the Dow Jones or the New York Stock Exchange. But 6 of the stocks are diversified and are in NASDAQ 100. And so that's where we are right there. You can see we went into a sell. It's trying to climb into a buy. It's been in a buy for 3 weeks now after the close of the day. So there's been, it's been a good trade. You can see here, went into the buy here. We were in a weekly buy there. And it just climbed all the way up. So traders, what else can we say about that? Anybody have an opinion on anything particular? If not, we're getting close to getting out of Dodge here. I'm trying to figure out what title I should use now. And let's go to the short term. This should be very interesting. We should keep the thing running all the way up until to the end there for you. It's a triple expiration this morning. So it's going to be wild and woolly in the next 4.5 minutes. Wild times here. Yeah. How to read Doc's charts and gold. There we go. Put an and add an and in there. There we are. All right, we're gonna sing our way out of this, unless someone wants to see something here. Happy trails to you. Remember, traders, have a safe and smart weekend, and we will catch you on Monday. TGIM. Thank goodness it's Monday. So enjoy the weekend. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Thank you, and we will see you on Monday. Monday Fun Day.